We have a plastic problem. It's in our water, food, and it's clogging up our waterways and choking our environment. And it doesn't go away, whether it's in our body with PFAS, which are microplastics derived from our food and water consumption, or plastic waste impacting wildlife. Most of them are there to stay a long, long time. Projections do not paint a better picture, with expectations for plastic waste produced globally to almost triple by 2060, with around half ending up in landfill and less than a fifth recycled. But should it be only doom and gloom? Well, no. The world's nations agreed to develop a legally binding agreement to address the plastic pollution crisis. Here's what you need to know about it. The talks in Ottawa are the fourth of 5 rounds of negotiations, with the final round set for December in Busan, South Korea. If agreed to, it could be the most significant environmental deal since the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement. Plastic waste has become a global menace, polluting landscapes and waterways. And the plastic industry now accounts for 5% of global carbon emissions, which could grow to 20% by 2050 if current trends continue. Most virgin plastic is derived from petroleum. Countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, and China, known collectively as the group of like-minded countries, have opposed mentioning production limits. Meanwhile, the 60-nation High Ambition Coalition, which includes EU countries, island nations, Japan and the UAE, wants to end plastic pollution by 2040. The coalition has called for common, legally binding provisions to restrain and reduce production and consumptions to sustainable levels. They are also proposing measures such as phasing out problematic single-use plastics. The US says it also wants to end plastic pollution by 2040 but wants countries to set their own plans for doing so. But countries were not the only ones sitting around the negotiation table. Fossil fuel and chemical industry lobbyists outnumbered the combined 180 representatives of the European Union delegation. Who are they? Well, trade group Global Partners for Plastic Circularity represents major petrochemical producers. They argue production cuts would lead to higher prices for consumers and say the treaty should address plastics only after they are made, meaning recycling capacities. The Business Coalition for a Plastics Treaty represents more than 200 consumer-facing companies, including PepsiCo and Walmart. Unlike the petrochemical industry, they support a treaty that includes production caps, according to a statement ahead of the Ottawa talks. Because it is precisely this point that is divisive for participants in this session, language that could result in plastic production caps remains in the text of a draft agreement but also continues to be a major point of contention. The key takeaways from this series: nations are negotiating. In last sessions, countries preferred to talk about ideas. Now it is about wording a step further towards a treaty. Second, limiting how much plastic is made is on the table. Although no numbers are available, this part is on track to be one of the major points in the treaty. Third, treaty work will continue until the next meeting. This means although Ottawa didn't create any major breakthrough, the agenda for a signed treaty early next year is still up to date. Countries are still under pressure to find common ground before the final negotiations in Busan in December. So make sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to follow one of the most important environmental treaty in the making.